Yo, what's going on, guys? Evan Tanaka here, back with another video. In today's video, we got another I Rate and Improve Your Guys' Team series, and we got a special guest on the episode that I'll be talking about a little bit later. But firstly, if you guys could leave a subscription down below, I'd really appreciate it. I post 2 to 3 Myteam videos every single day and give you guys some of the best No Money Spent content, tips and tricks on the platform. And guys, we do have a special guest for this episode, JC. He's a pretty big YouTuber with 2K. He's a big Twitch streamer. He's a very comp player, very nice guy, makes very good YouTube videos. So I'll leave a link in his description down below. Make sure to go check him out. So yeah, what's up, JC? How you doing?
Yo, what's going on? I appreciate you having me on and just letting me do this. Pretty cool. I'm excited to do this episode and rate some of y'all's teams.
Yes, sir. Okay, so first team. Looking at the first team here, he has got 820 KMTs. That's definitely a good amount. So he's got John Wall, Terry Disher, Kawhi, Rudy Gay, Shaq. I'm personally not the biggest fan of inside centers, but I know some people do like Shaq or inside centers. Penny Hardaway, amazing. Jaylen Brown, Mike Miller, Dolph Schayes, and Kevin Garnett. For me, rating out of 10, I think it's honestly, it's like an 8.5 to a 9. I think it's a very, very good team. I think it's more towards a 9. Like I said, the only position I would change is going to be Shaq. And I would get like a guy like D-Rob. Again, you have a lot of MT, but if you do like somebody like an inside center that I know you'd probably want to run Shaq. But honestly, I mean, like John Wall, I mean, I'd probably go Penny instead of John Wall. Like, you know, switch the point guards. You do have a lot of MT, so you could pick up a guy like Dwayne Wade as well. You could look for Dwayne Wade at the point guard position, but I would mainly just do D-Rob.
For me, I kind of agree with the 8.5 to 9. I would lean closer to the side of an 8.5 just because I think Shaq definitely should be upgraded to a guy like D-Rob 100%. If you're trying to save MT, you could go in the direction of an Evan Mobley or George Mikan, but I think D-Rob would definitely be the guy to pick up, especially the 75th anniversary D-Rob, because he gets that limitless spot up, he gets sniper, he gets quick first step. Badges like that are some of the most crucial badges in the game. So I think that would be a good path to go. And then I agree with John Wall's not a bad card, but I think Penny's better. I think Dwayne Wade is better. I would definitely potentially look to pick up a guy like Dwayne Wade, or you could even play a guy like Gary Payton if you have him. I'm not sure if you have Gary, but if you were to have Gary Payton, he's a free guy you can plug in there, who I think is a better overall card than John Wall. So definitely, I would say an 8.5 just because I take about a point off because I'm not a huge fan of that Shaq card, and then another about half a point because John Wall could definitely be improved to another player. But I definitely think you pick up guys like Wade and D-Rob, and this is one of the better teams you could possibly build in the game right now.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think we're fairly agreeing on that one. So on to the second team here now. JC, what do you think about this squad?
All right, next team for today comes in from Elvin. He says he's got about 200K and he plays on current gen. Looking at AI and Marcus Smart, that's not a bad duo. Victor Oladipo and Buddy Hield, it could be better, it could be worse, especially if that Buddy Hield is Evo to Diamond. Rudy Gay is great. Scottie Pippen is solid. John Collins is kind of meh. Aaron Gordon, kind of similar thing. And then Andre Drummond off the bench, I'm not the biggest fan of, but I do like Mikan a lot. This is the type of team that I would probably rate around a maybe. I'm not great with the rating because I don't typically do ratings in my own videos, but I'd say maybe a 7. There are definitely some great pieces on this team, and then some guys that I think could definitely be improved. Like, first thing I would probably say, Oladipo is undersized, and playing him next to Iverson is just not a duo that I think I support. What I would probably go is more of a sell Oladipo and pick up a guy like Mike Miller. I just think Mike Miller is a better overall card than Oladipo in pretty much every area. He's going to be a better or as good of a shooter. He's going to be great, much better with his size and his defensive ability. Just as good of a slasher. I think he gives you a lot more on the court in general than a guy like Oladipo, and they're going to be a similar price tag. So that's probably the first thing I'd look at. Buddy Hield as a backup is totally good. 200K is enough that he gives you the flexibility to make some moves. Like, you could move John Collins to the backup 5. You could pick up a guy like Draymond at the 4. At the backup point guard position, you could pick up a guy like Penny Hardaway and sell Marcus Smart. You could even go with a guy like Wes Unseld to replace Aaron Gordon off the bench if you wanted to replace Gordon. I think Gordon is fine. He can play, but I think a Draymond or a Wes Unseld or a Dolph Schayes might be a better upgrade to those positions. So definitely some things you can work on, but my rating would be probably about a 7. So what do you think, Evan?
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with the 7 out of 10. I know JC don't really do that many ratings, so it is a bit confusing for him. But honestly, I've done a bunch of ratings in the past. This team is around a 7, and I do agree with the kind of upgrades you can make. I do agree with Victor Oladipo, a little bit undersized compared next to AI. So a guy like Mike Miller, great option, like JC said. I would go personally James Harden, but again, we've been over this. I'm a massive James Harden fan, and he's actually only 15,000 MT, which is crazy to me. So I'm just going to throw that option out there as well. James Harden over for Victor Oladipo, but Mac Miller is a really good pickup as well. I like your small forwards, Rudy Gay and Scottie Pippen. Personally, I would replace John Collins and Aaron Gordon. And the two guys I would go with is me and JC. We did a bunch of power forwards upgrading last time. I think guys we talked about were like Draymond Green, Dolph Shays. He's a really good pickup. We talked a lot about Rudy Gay, but you already have him. So for me, I would change the two power forwards, and I would go Dolph Shays and Draymond Green as your two power forwards. And then I would replace Andre Drummond and go with that amethyst Evan Mobley. Or you could look to get a guy like Bill Russell, but honestly, I think Evan Mobley is the better center. So for me, other than that, I think everything is pretty good. I think that'll help your team out a lot. Just make some of those upgrades that me and JC told you, and your team should be looking a lot better. All right, looking at the third team now is from the man Unbeatable Jacob, or Jacob as you guys know on Twitch. So he's got honestly a very good team, and he's got a million MT. So he's got a really good God squad. He's running AI, which is pretty surprising. I thought Jacob would want the taller point guards, but rating out of 10, I mean, it's probably one of the best teams in the game. For me to be a 10 out of 10, it's got to be exactly every single card's got to be exactly who I think the best point guard is, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, center, to be a 10 out of 10. So for me, this lineup is going to be a 9.5 out of 10, just because, for example, Dwayne Wade isn't in my top 2 point guards. A guy like, who else is on here? Like, Rudy Gay, yeah, he's probably second best small forward. But yeah, for me, it's like it's almost a 10 out of 10, to be honest. There is an upgrade you could make. Curry's on this list. Oh no, we're not running Curry. Okay, so he likes Dwayne Wade and AI over Curry. I disagree. I would go Curry. That's probably would make me a 10 out of 10. If you went Curry over AI, I'd probably give this team a 10 out of 10. Chris Bosh is in here as well. I think I would rather Hakeem. I think Bosh is good. I think he's the third best center in the game, but for me, I think it would be Hakeem. But again, he's got a really good team, so that's pretty much all I got. What do you think, JC?
I kind of agree. Instead of a 9.5, I'm going to go about a 9.7, because what I would say is I think this is very, very close to the best team that you could possibly build. And for me personally, I actually would have D-Rob and Bosh as the two centers for the best team possible. Giannis and LeBron at the power forward, same thing. Rudy Gay and Kawhi at the threes, exact same. And Terry and Kobe at the twos, I also agree with. The thing is, I think the biggest thing, and this is a very, very nitpicky thing, but when you're trying to give a team a 10 out of 10, it has to be perfect in my personal opinion. I agree with Evan on that. And this Kobe is not the 75th anniversary Kobe, which means he can't get the Chef badge. And Chef is a very important badge for a 3 hunting card. And the fact that Kobe can't get that badge, and there's a couple other badges that are some nice badges that Kobe can't get as well on that card that he can get on the 75th, I think that'd be an upgrade right there. I do like that you have all the different point guard options, because, I mean, these are the top 5 point guards in the game right here. Wade, Penny, AI, Steph, and Gary Payton. Those are probably the top 5 point guards in the game. And you have all 5 of them, so you can kind of mix and match and pick and choose whoever you're feeling like using in that specific game. So I really do like that. The only thing that I really would nitpick at is the fact that it's not the 75th anniversary Kobe. If it was the 75th anniversary Kobe, I would give this team a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with JC on that. I think the only position he kind of needs to upgrade is that point guard. AI, for me, just can't really cut it. I think Penny or Curry or even GP are honestly better than AI. But yeah, I probably agree with more than 9.7. It's really close to the best team in the game, but it kind of has to be perfect to be at 10 out of 10. So now looking at the fourth team here, what do you think, JC?
I rock with this team, honestly. He's got 1.8 mil, which is definitely a super flexible amount. He's got John Wall and Penny, which are 2 solid point guards. Again, Wall could be upgraded to a guy like Dwayne Wade, especially since you have that 1.8 mil. You're going to spend an extra 150,000 MT to get Wade instead of John Wall, but I think it's worth spending that MT. Terry Dishinger and Jaylen Brown is totally good at the shooting guard position. Kawhi and Rudy also elite. Giannis and Draymond super solid, and Bosh and Hakeem is really good. This is the type of team that you can run and have success at any level in the game. You don't really need to change anything, but like I said, there are a couple upgrades you could make. For example, replacing Wall with Dwayne Wade, replacing Giannis. I know you locked in this Giannis for Hakeem, but you could potentially upgrade him to the 75th anniversary Giannis, because that Giannis can get the shooting badges that this Giannis can't. For example, the limitless spot, the sniper, the catch and shoot badges like that are pretty important badges to make Giannis that effective shooter out of the corner. And then you could also look to upgrade Draymond Green to a guy like LeBron James or a cheaper option like Dolph Shays, depending on how you want to go with that. And you do have the MT to make moves like that. Now, this team, for me personally, I completely forgot about rating it. That's my fault. But it's probably about a 9 out of 10, I would say, because I think there are a few things that you can change. Maybe 8.7, 8.6 out of 10. Definitely a really solid team, though not a ton to change whatsoever. What do you think, Evan?
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with the rating between the 8.5 and a 9. Probably more leaning towards the 9 side. There's no card on this team that I'm like, needs to go. I think every card here is very viable and can be used in a competitive setting and get you a lot of wins or have success with this lineup. So the only thing you really want to do is maybe upgrade Draymond Green, like JC said, and potentially look at John Wall. overall. So for Draymond Green, I think Dolph Schayes and LeBron James, like JC said, is pretty much honestly the two power forwards that I would rather have over Draymond. For point guard, I mean, you could go out there and you could get a Curry, a Wade, if you really wanted to. And Chris Bosh and Hakeem, you locked in for Hakeem, so he's definitely got to play on your squad. Chris Bosh, again, for me, I would sell Chris Bosh and I would pick up a guy like D-Rob just to make it as best as possible. I think D-Rob is better than Chris Bosh. You go pick up his NBA 75 card. You get all the, you can add all the badges, all the shooting badges and stuff he needs. So for me, just replace John Wall, pick up a Curry, pick up a Wade, even a GP if you have him. And yeah, look at Draymond Green to maybe be Dolph Schayes or LeBron James. Probably Dolph Schayes if you want to go more budget route, but LeBron James if you want to go, full out spending all your MT. So yeah, that was the fourth team. On to the fifth team of the video. We've got honestly a pretty budgety squad. He's missing one player. What is he saying? So 35 KMT, willing to spend most. Marcus Smart, Buddy Hield is getting graded, as well as Wang Zizi. Okay, so he's got Wang in here at the backup center position, I'm assuming. He said Marcus Smart's getting graded and Buddy Hield. So I'm assuming he's got Buddy Hield in this lineup as well. He's got Steph Curry, which is really surprising to me. What I'd probably recommend doing is selling Curry. That's if you want to play the smartest way. I know Curry's very fun to use, but I think this team needs an overall fix. Compared to having one Galaxy Opal card that's, he'll do a lot for your squad, but he can't carry you to wins. So for me, I would sell Steph Curry, and you could pick up a guy like Penny Hardaway. You could even go cheaper like that. You can go John Wall, way cheaper. You're going to save what Curry goes for 300 to 400 KMT. Even that tis the season one. So you could sell him for maybe 300 KMT. We'll go on the low end. You could buy John Wall for 30 KMT. You could buy Penny Hardaway for 60,000 MT. Shooting guard Victor Oladipo, and I'm assuming you have Buddy Hield starting. Honestly, I think that's fine with only 35 KMT. I know we did sell Curry, but I think you're going to want to save some of the MT as well. Most people don't want to spend all of their MT. So Scottie Barnes and Caron Butler. I like Scottie Barnes. I'm going to tell you to get rid of Caron Butler, and I'm going to pick up a guy like Scottie Pippen. Again, another really cheap card. He's a very solid defender. Plays a lot like Scottie Barnes. I like having those two guys. You could look at AK as well, but for that lineup, I would go with a guy kind of more a defensive-minded guy, like an AK, like a Pippen, for your backup small forward position. And for me, I would get rid of both these power forwards. Not the biggest fan of Boozer, not the biggest fan of John Collins. I think two great budget options is Draymond Green and Jonathan Isaac. Again, going more of the budget route. I think Draymond Green and Jonathan Isaac, two amazing, very good power forwards. Jonathan Isaac is kind of like a budgeter Giannis, so you'll get that kind of length off the bench as well. Moses Malone, not the biggest fan of, so for me, I would sell Moses Malone. And you said you have Wang Zizi off the bench, which I'm okay with. I think you could run him on this lineup and be fine. But for the starting center position, I would look to get a guy like George Mikan. He's only about 30,000, or I think he's less. I think he's like 15 to 20,000 MT.
Like 20K-ish.
Yeah, about 20,000 MT, and I think he's better than Moses Malone in pretty much everything but defense. But I think overall he is the better center than Moses Malone. And I think I forgot to give a rating as well. I'd probably go 7.5, maybe 7. It's pretty close to that second or third team we did, so I'd probably go 7 out of 10. Let me know what you think, JC.
I agree with a 7, maybe even like a 6.5. This team is just, I'll be completely honest here, it's not the best put together team. You have some guys in the squad who I just don't think are particularly good cards at this point in the year, and then you have a guy like Steph Curry who's one of the better point guards in the game, and not only one of the better point guards in the game, he's one of the most expensive cards period in the game. I just looked while Evan was talking at the price of the Steph Curry card, and he's legitimately going for 300,000 MT, maybe even more depending on if you have an extra half badge on him or fully badged, or if you just get lucky. So you're going to get a minimum of 300,000 MT if you sell this card. So what I would say is I am legitimately going to recommend that you sell every single card on your team except for Diamond Buddy Hield. I know that's a dramatic move, but I would sell every single card that you can sell. You're going to have 400,000-ish MT, and then you can basically rebuild your team entirely. At the point guard positions, you go Penny Hardaway and John Wall. Shooting guard positions, Mike Miller and Buddy Hield. Small forward positions, Andre Kirilenko and Scottie Pippen. Power forward positions, Dolph Schayes and Draymond Green, and then center positions, George Mikan and Evan Mobley. You'll have the MT to do all of that. You still will probably have 150K-ish MT left over after you do that, and you will have a team that will go from a 6.5 or a 7 to an 8.5 or a 9, or even potentially a little bit over a 9. Your team becomes significantly better. You're going to have far more success with a team like that, and you're actually going to save MT. You will end up having more MT than you do right now, and I just think that it's a no-brainer. Sell Curry and just basically rebuild your squad. That's just my perspective. I think if you do that, you're going to have a much better team all the way around.
Yeah, definitely agree with JC on that. I feel like he spent a lot of time over there, kind of labbing on 2KDB or something there. He had the whole lineup figured out already. But I definitely would agree with his suggestions. Probably better to do what he did. But on to the last team here. JC, let me know what you think about the squad.
Okay, a little all over the place, I'll be honest, because I see Gold Pascal Siakam at center. He said he didn't buy backup power forward to center without suggestions. He's going to have around a 200K after he finishes with his squad. Terry DeMar and Nat are Matt Badge. Okay, so Josh Giddey, I don't hate. The only problem with him, well, for one, he's 6'8". He does get defensive badges. So if you have some defensive badges on him, he's a very usable card. It's just offensively he struggles because he doesn't get quick first step. He doesn't get sniper. He doesn't get limitless spot up. He doesn't get some of the most important offensive badges in the game. That being said, I think he is a card you can still use, but I do think you're going to want to make sure you have a point guard who is going to be more effective as that scorer. Whether that's a guy like Penny Hardaway or a cheaper route like a guy like John Wall, I think is kind of up to you. For me personally, I would probably go the John Wall route with a team like this because Giddey is that 6'8" point guard. So I would probably move Giddey to the bench and start John Wall at the 1 and sell Marcus Smart. Then Terry Dischinger and Mike Miller, definitely an elite shooting guard duo. I don't think anything needs to be touched there. And DeMar and Jaylen Brown at the small forwards, exact same thing. Think you need to touch anything. At the power forward and center position, I know it's getting a little bit repetitive, but I'm going to recommend those same few guys. You either go Draymond Green or Dolph Chase at the starting power forward position, move Calvin Nat to the backup power forward position, and then go Jordan Mikan and Evan Mobley at your center position. I think those budget guys are just guys you can plug in who can compete against the best cards at those positions in the game, and that will give you just such a well-rounded squad. And you'll still probably have a little bit of MT to play with even after making those moves because none of those guys I recommended are particularly expensive. To rate this team right now, it's like a 7.5 because you're missing positions. The players you have in positions for the most part are very good cards, but you're missing positions. But I think if you build the team that I kind of suggested, you're going to be looking at closer to a 9 or so. Another one of those really, really well-rounded, well put together budget squads. What do you think, Evan?
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with that with the rating, just because again, don't have the you don't have the backup power forward, you don't have 2 centers. So for the cards you have though, very good cards. I mean, Giddey, I kind of agree with. Isn't the best card. I mean, I do like him, but offensively, I think a guy like Penny Hardaway or John Wall is going to be much better for you. And then, again, I know the power forwards are getting pretty repetitive, but there's honestly just such, no-brainer options. Draymond Green, Dolph Chase, even a guy like Jonathan Isaac, a.k.a. Scottie Pippen. Those guys are just kind of all no-brainers. That's why we keep repeating them too. And then, again, at the center position, George Mikan and Evan Mobley. They're just like the top budget centers in the game. There's not that many good budget centers in the game. For example, there's guys like, Wang Zz, Evan Mobley, George Mikan, Jaren Jackson Jr., Bill Russell. Those are kind of like the 5-6 guys that are like the budget options. So I think George Mikan and Evan Mobley are the 2 best centers from that like 5 to 6 group bunch. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the video. Want to give a massive shout out for JC for coming on again. JC, you got anything else you want to say?
Not really. I appreciate you having me on, letting me do this. Y'all make sure y'all go sub to my boy Evan if y'all don't already. Make sure y'all show him love on his channel and on this video. Appreciate you letting me do this as always, and I'm glad I was able to give my perspective a little bit on some of these teams. So appreciate y'all letting me do this.
Thank you for coming on. So hope you guys enjoy this video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.